What's up, guys? It's Sam from Ravens Talk. I know we talked about possibly having a show every twice a week, but I think I'm going to stick with once a week because I think during the game I had a beautiful idea about having these all 22 deciphering sessions with the Ravens fans. A lot of fans, have their opinions, and I really agree with a lot of them. But I think to get a better idea of at least where I come from when I analyze film prior to the show, I would love to give you guys a look or a peek into what I look at. I think we'll call this show Ravens Talk Pivotal Moments. I want to get the pivotal moments from each game that decided one way or another, maybe a momentum swing, maybe a big play here or there. And I think the 2-minute drill by the Ravens was massively orchestrated, save for a couple of communication issues, which we'll get to. But I definitely wanted to touch on it. We're not going to show the whole drive, lots of plays there, but definitely want to start with the play that catapulted the Ravens from potentially winning the game to they got a good shot. And I think a lot of it has to do with the play. In this particular play, Rashad Bateman, who played, pedestrian up until this point, didn't get a lot of targets. Lamar definitely seems to have a love for Isaiah Likely and Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews was used kind of like a decoy and also to sit and block because the Chiefs were gashing through the pass protection that the Ravens had. But yeah, well, let's get into it. Most of the game, at least in this drive anyway, the Chiefs were not trying to give up anything over the top. They let go of the underneath stuff, and Isaiah Likely got some much needed yards, and great job by him to get out of bounds and stop the clock and all of that. So I say all that to let you know that this is what's going to happen. The play starts. We got 3 receivers at the top, 1 at the bottom. And I say receiver loosely because Isaiah Likely is technically a tight end. But look at Isaiah Likely. He's been torching the Chiefs all game. Chiefs don't care. They're worried about the top stuff. You'll see here, this receiver will go up here and this gives the safety a decision to make. He has to decide, is he going to help this guy out or cover this guy? This guy's already getting beat, but that's by design. The point is to keep Lamar Jackson either away from the big play or to scheme up a design to make him think that someone's open and cause a turnover. This receiver here is going to try and blanket this area, force the safety to make a decision. Do I go after this guy or do I go after this guy? Typical NFL stuff. Play starts, boom. Right there, you see this guy, Zay Flowers, he's going to keep going. His job is to do a sort of a deep route, and this guy has the attention of this guy. He's not going anywhere. But look at Bateman. Already gained separation, already open. This safety, flat-footed. I mean, what do you even say at this point? Let's go back. Play starts. I stop here not to look at Bateman. Look at this pass rusher. This guy is going after Lamar Jackson in the worst way. And if you don't got a guy like Lamar Jackson, you're pretty much screwed at this point. Joe Flacco would have got sacked here. But because Lamar is Lamar, he's able to immediately just step up in the pocket. Look at this. Lamar doesn't do this 2 years ago. His presence, his ability to decipher the pressure is uncanny. And I mentioned that the Ravens panic. And by the Ravens, I do mostly mean the coaching staff. They panic in situations where they're behind against these high-powered teams. But Lamar Jackson, cool and collected. Bateman's already gone. Bateman was gone from the jump. The safety is trying to guard this guy to give the responsibility of Zay Flowers to the other safety. And it just leaves Bateman open. Look at Lamar. Passes it. Bateman makes a huge catch. Huge catch. If they had a timeout, it would have been perfect. But they didn't. We won't talk about that too much, but look at this. Look at the play. Look at your boy. Look at all this open space. Now, a case can be made that Lamar probably could have taken this up top. I don't agree. Look at the safety. Safety's on his way. Safety knows where the play is, and look how far Lamar is from the receiver. This isn't Madden. You can't just throw a ball and it gets there before the safety gets there. The safety is good enough to intercept that ball. So he puts it right where Bateman can get it. stops it, catches it at the point of attack before the safety can get there. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. What a beautiful throw and catch. And right now, you are in the red zone with the chance to win the game. Thursday Night Football, season opener, everything on the line. Whew. I was so excited to see this because I knew, one, Rashad Bateman had a sigh of relief. Okay, I'm impacting the game. I'm a part of this game. And in the other hand, you have Lamar Jackson saying, okay, I got a chance to really shut some mouths up in the NFL circles here in the National Football League. So good job, good play, and it sets up a series of unfortunate events that we'll talk about. All right, guys, this is immediately following the Rashad Bateman grab. I think the Ravens should have expected here. I might be in the minority here, but I think Rashad Bateman's catch, exciting. I know you want to put the defense on their heels. Just think the Ravens should expect it. Didn't really matter in this game, I have to admit. You get 3 chances after this, but I just feel like, rushing things. It brings me back to the 2011 AFC Championship where they rushed to get the kicker out there instead of, taking the timeout. Of course, again, Ravens didn't have timeouts, so, something to think about for the coaching staff. Don't waste timeouts in the third quarter. Don't even do it. Like, why? How bad was it that you needed to use a timeout and it became a pivotal moment in this ball game? But I digress. Talk about Isaiah Likely here. What a game Isaiah Likely had. Player of the game easily. I know Lamar Jackson, I give him a lot of credit because he definitely did extend plays and keep these drives alive because of how poor the offensive line played in the first half of this game. I think they played a lot better towards the end. And some of that may be due to gassing out these defenders, especially pass rushers. But man, Isaiah Likely balled out. We'll see why I'm a little, a little perturbed about this because I think these next 3 plays, there are lots and lots of, I can't even express how many opportunities the Ravens had to win this game after that Bateman grab. All right, we'll start the play. Again, we got Nelson Aguilar over here. We got Bateman over here. We got Flowers over here. Justice Hill over here, just to give you an idea. So we got a 3 receiver, 1 tight end who's really a receiver. That's what we're talking about. I mentioned it on the show. The Ravens have dog receivers because Isaiah Likely's a receiver. He's a tight end by position only. I mean, he can make a block here or there. He did make a spectacular block during this game that we might talk about during the show. But yeah, they have dogs here, and you saw it play out in this game. But let's take a look. All right. Starting off, the offensive line did a great job. Justice Hill has a responsibility, and that's to cover Lamar Jackson, something he's been, again, as you mentioned, very scrutinized for. But I think he did a pretty decent job. We stop it here. Let's take a look. Bateman's locked. Bateman is locked up. Nelson Aguilar trying to sneak in the middle here, but of course this zone is protecting any middle of the field throw and catch here. And this is preliminary stuff that I'm looking at. This guy is going to sit here and he's blanketed, and then we have 2 guys on this guy. So right now it's not looking too great. Lamar still has time in the pocket. You can't ask for a better pocket than this. You can't ask for it. This is very well done. Now you see Justice Hill streaking here. Lamar looks his direction. He knows these guys are blanketed, and this is the only guy with any green. But remember, there's not enough time on the clock. If they had timeouts, I think this would have been an easy dump off here. And, he gets tackled and what have you, and then they call a timeout and they go from there. But that's not the case. And even if it was the case, I don't think this defense would have been called. I think they would have had a better opportunity to cover the underneath stuff. But we're in this situation. Justice Hill did a good job, picked this guy, and then made his way to the middle of the field. The goal for this is twofold. Give, obviously, Lamar Jackson a dump off and potentially draw the attention of a defender that leaves a receiver open. Does that happen here? Yes. Lamar Jackson sees him. These guys that were in charge of Isaiah Likely immediately look at where their eyes. They're all looking his way. And that leaves Isaiah Likely open. We talk about how the Ravens don't have good passing concepts. Seems like a decent passing concept to me. Not everybody's supposed to be open on the given play. Sometimes it's the receiver's job to draw defenders away from where the play is actually supposed to go. So we know Isaiah Likely is open. And if you watch the game, you know how this play ends. But let's see if Lamar sees Isaiah Likely. Now, he stepped up. He noticed that these guys are covering him. He sees Isaiah, and Isaiah is already heading that way. So what's the problem? There's no pass rush. Not a red jersey within 5 yards of Lamar Jackson. Throw the ball. He does. Success. Lamar read the defense perfectly. Again, we talked about it. Bateman's covered. Aguilar's covered. Zay's covered. Justice Hill, maybe, potentially, but why try when you have a wide open, sure thing? If he doesn't catch it, it's out of bounds. The clock doesn't need to stop. So this guy is null and void already. He's the only other option, but he makes the correct read. It's Likely. Toss that ball, tie the game, or go to win it. But what happens? It sails. Poor throw by Lamar Jackson. Poor throw. You got to make this throw. Yes, the defender's coming. Yes, the defender's coming. Too much time. We've seen Lamar make throws with guys in his face often. We're not using this as an excuse. We're not using this as an excuse. You have to make the throw. He doesn't do it. And I talked to a couple of buddies after the game about this throw. Initially, I thought this was supposed to stop the clock. There's not a guy open. Yeah, Zay Flowers is in the area. Zay Flowers. Isaiah Likely is in the area. But Lamar's thinking, pass rush is coming, throw this ball away. No. Lamar makes the correct read. He just misses the throw. And if you're going to be a Super Bowl champion, you have to make this throw. You have to. This ball is supposed to be right here, not there. Easy. And we're talking about a completely different game on Friday. But that's not what happened. Sails it. Not only that, but Isaiah Likely gets the wind knocked out of him. And we move on. Okay, I know the last play of the drive is definitely the one people are talking about, but this is a close second to a potentially game-tying touchdown that was negated due to, I believe, lack of communication or miscommunication between Lamar Jackson and his receiver. You see here, the Ravens are dealing with 5 guys at the line of scrimmage. Now, the Ravens have had trouble protecting all day. Lamar Jackson, the most mobile quarterback in the league, so this isn't too much of an ask, but it is asking a lot. You see this guy here is potentially a candidate to blitz. And this guy is roaming free right now, and he's between, and we know there's got to be the dominant Chris Jones. He is between, right now, at least from this angle, Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman. Now, we know he's not covering Rashad Bateman. So right away, if you're a guy who's signaling to block, you know this guy is going to be a free runner. Right tackle's not going to have enough time to get to him. Even if he does, he leaves the opportunity for these guys to try and pick up blitzes. Now, in a perfect world, yes, he has the ability to run over here and grab him, but this guy automatically becomes the responsibility of the running back. And that's what happens. Let's take the ball. You see this guy starts to shade up. He's no longer a factor unless he blitzes, but as you can tell, Lamar's already looking at him. He already acknowledges that this guy is a potential threat, but most likely is in coverage. Definitely sat back. Bam. Perfect example of what happens. These guys become enveloped over here. The running back, Justice Hill, tall task, especially for a guy who struggled running blocking the pass rush as a pass protector in Justice Hill, but he's gotten better. He did okay here, but let's digress. Let's look back. Let's turn it around and look at the receivers because this is what's going to decide the game. Again, we mentioned Andrews and Rashad Bateman in the bottom, Nelson Aguilar and Zay Flowers at the top. We move here. What is this? I will never understand this concept. The Ravens have been doing this forever, but automatically, you're slowing things down here. Your job is to slow these four guys down, and you're bumping into each other. It's a concept play. Maybe they're tired, sluggish. It's week one, but just something to consider as we go on here. Of course, Zay Flowers and Nelson Aguilar. Nelson Aguilar's job is to take this guy away. And he sits here, and you'll see that. And Zay Flowers has the opportunity to get involved into the middle of this defense. As he moves, that's exactly what happens. Nelson Aguilar stops here. Bateman goes here. You need a touchdown. You have no timeouts. Had this been the case where the Ravens had 3 timeouts or 2 timeouts, they didn't use those timeouts early in the third quarter, John Harbaugh, then maybe this is a play that's potentially capable of happening. You get this guy over here, this guy gets moved away, and you have an opportunity for a short distance scoring opportunity. But that's not the case. Instead, you have a situation where you need to get this ball in the hands of your receiver in the end zone or out of bounds. Mark Andrews is enveloped here. He's going to be the main target. We know that he's the red zone guy, and so the Chiefs did a good job of making sure that he was contained. Zay Flowers is moving. Zay Flowers is moving here. This area is open. Mark Andrews, not only is he being guarded by 3 guys, but he is taking away 3 defenders from the play with his presence, which is unbelievable. Great job by Monken to dial that up. Here, Lamar Jackson has to worry about Chris Jones, and who can blame him? He's been wreaking havoc all day on this offense that is still in flux, and Justice Hill, to his credit, tried his best to slow him down, but Lamar Jackson understands that he does not have a lot of time with the football in his hand. He cannot afford to turnover, strip fumble, something that's happened very often in his career due to lack of protection and lack of sense in the pocket. So he doesn't make that mistake this time. He makes sure that he's available to make the throw. He steps up. Chris Jones still almost grabs him. Almost grabs him. Right now, we have Zay Flowers. And look at this space. And look at the throwing lane that he has to go to. Plenty of opportunity for Lamar Jackson to make a play. He mentioned something about Rashad Bateman being the target, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Right now, we're focused on the fact that Zay Flowers is indeed the target. Now, Zay Flowers could have sat here. Could have sat here. This man would have been able to potentially make the play on the ball, but it would have been a tough ask for him. Zay Flowers had an opportunity to stay here, sit between the hole and the zone, and make a play for the touchdown, game winning most likely for the Ravens if they had gone for the 2 and made it. Instead, he decides not to sit. Now, is that a good idea? Potentially. Remember, Mark Andrews is enveloped by these 3 guys. This man is going over here to potentially stop a play to Rashad Bateman. Lamar Jackson knows that. He's going to the wide open guy in the middle of this defense. Look at this. IEF. All, not a single Chiefs player in sight. So I think that Lamar Jackson's decision was to go with the zone here, and Zay Flowers said, hey, just catch me in stride. So that's a miscommunication. It's week 1. These guys have another, this is their second year together, this beginning of it. So they're still learning, they're still growing as a unit. But man, you would have loved to see, if you're a Ravens fan, disconnect, because this play was beautifully orchestrated. Now, before we stop and move on to the next and final play, let's look at what Lamar Jackson is potentially talking about. Rashad Bateman moves up right here. Let's slide back a little bit to see the thought process for Rashad Bateman. Case can be made, Rashad Bateman stopped the route, but I don't know. Right now, are you assuming that Bateman's supposed to go that way? No. Bateman likely either was supposed to go here, had an option to choose from, depending on the makeup of the zone, or he was just simply supposed to go into the middle of the defense. I'm on the realm of thinking it was likely an option on his part, but it doesn't matter. What definitely wasn't the case, which I've heard some fans talk about, is that Rashad Bateman was supposed to make a slant this way to the zone. And if Bateman had turned around, that'd have been a touchdown grab. Let's say that's, for the sake of argument, is the case. One, terrible design. You got one guy already over here. You got another guy streaking over here. You're going to call a play to put a third guy over here to muddy it up, bringing a defender? No shot. If anything, Rashad Bateman is supposed to go this way in a perfect world if this guy's sitting here and further remove the defender away from the play. Instead, Bateman goes up. He stops right here because maybe he assumes that Lamar needs to get a guy the ball, and he said, okay, maybe that's me. But Bateman's not involved in this play whatsoever. This is not Bateman's ball in any stretch of the imagination. That's a Zay Flowers to Lamar Jackson connection that did not happen, and I think it's due to lack of communication. Again, it's week 1. But that's probably the play that cost the Ravens the ball game. And this is the final play of the game. The game that will live in infamy as the what could have been. And the play that lives in infamy as the what could have been. I think these receivers need to start wearing white cleats. I mean, that's what Zay Flowers is doing right here. He's wearing white cleats. I think that will help out a lot for Ravens fan sanity. But we had the final play of the game here. We have Isaiah Likely here in the middle, Zay Flowers at the bottom of the screen. I think that's Rashad Bateman at the top here and Mark Andrews. So, and again, Justice Hill here. I mean, Derrick Henry wasn't in any of these plays that we talked about. And that's something we'll discuss on the show, what the Ravens will need to do to make sure that he's incorporated, because you don't pay that kind of money for a guy to sit in the sidelines. I mean, I get the circumstances and why it had to be done, but it just feels wrong to not have that guy on the field. But I digress. We have these receivers here, 2 receiver, 2 tight end set. Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, top and bottom. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely between the two next to the tackles. And then you have Justice Hill at the bottom right next to Lamar Jackson. It's good that they have Mark Andrews on the field. I know Mark Andrews didn't have the greatest game, but he's a menace. He is a potential red zone nightmare for these safeties and linebackers and even corners. I mean, how do you guard somebody that big? Something we saw with Isaiah Likely. Very difficult to find a guy to match up with them. But I digress. This is the last play of the game. Let's see what happens. Ball's hiked. Again, this defense is here for a reason. It's there to stymie. Do you see an open receiver here right now? It forces Lamar Jackson to hold the ball. Not only does this zone help cover receivers, but it also gives the linebackers the clear sight of Lamar. What's not going to happen is Lamar is going to run this ball in for the end zone touchdown himself. They're going to make sure that doesn't happen. All right. What do we have here? This is what makes Isaiah Likely play like a 10-year vet, wily. I know this is the play design, but look at how he creeps in here. He's covered. He's covered. This guy's sitting in zone, protecting Isaiah Likely. This play can only go to one person at this point, in my opinion. So Lamar Jackson probably knows that. Also, look at Justice Hill. We talked about how great he's played all day. Jones is in line sight of Lamar. So what does Lamar do? He has to extend. He does a little twirl, a little Madden twirl. Gives Justice Hill a chance to reestablish himself. He does get a lick off, but he still has a line of sight to Lamar Jackson, and this is the last play of the game. Lamar cannot afford to get sacked here. Also, Isaiah Likely still even more open. I'm sure he's trying to find a way to get in the zone. We talked about it with Zay Flowers earlier. This is what we mean by sitting in the zone, the pocket where the zone does not envelop. Zay Flowers, again, doing a great job of keeping these guys away. Lamar Jackson steps up. Right now, he's saying, yes, could Isaiah Likely go this way? Yes, he could. This guy's blocking him. He has the potential I don't know what the word is, but he has the potential to come in here and disrupt this play if Isaiah Likely chooses to fade this way. Yes. And Zay Flowers decided to go this way, and Lamar probably had a conversation with him. Hey, if you're in the zone, sit there. That's where I'm going. Probably after that Zay Flowers incident. But regardless, this is the decision you make. Yeah, you can keep dragging there and force Lamar to make a throw with the moving target, or you can just sit there in the pocket and wait for your quarterback to find you. And that's what happened. Lamar steps up, but it's too late by then. It's too late by then. Kind of, not really, but it is a task for these defenders to realize, oh, we're missing somebody. Let's get after him. Ball is thrown. Now, maybe people are thinking, why did he throw it so high? Where only the defender can get it. Remember, these guys are already coming for the player. They throw it too low, that's an easy deflection. Throw it where your big body tight end can get it and let him go make a play. And what a play he made. What a play he made. I loved it. All right, we're going to start here. Now, I want you guys to watch it from this perspective because you got to understand the dilemma that Lamar Jackson was in this game. He was running for his life. And even when you didn't think he was running for his life, he was running for his life. Right now, we got 4 guys at the line of scrimmage. We do this, why? Force your quarterback to think. Now he knows that rushes can come from both sides. Force your lineman to make adjustments. What do we do in this situation? But right now, we got 4 linemen. 4 defensive linemen, for sure. Here we go. Tackle has a job. This tackle decides to go after him. Could he have made a play if he was more athletic, Makari, to get this guy? Possibly. But the Ravens decided to keep Justice Hill out there, and that makes Jones primary target numero uno for Justice Hill. Now, he thinks that Hill is going to get beat there, and that's when we talk about the Madden twirl that Lamar does. Gives him more time. Lamar twirls and makes a throw almost instantaneously. Didn't realize how much time Lamar had to make that decision. He saw it, backed up, stepped up, planted his feet, threw the ball. Perfect. We talk about Lamar Jackson not being able to throw the football. Where? Where do you see that at? Of course, that miss by Isaiah Likely earlier in the corner of the end zone, that make would have been way better for the Ravens, obviously, but this is a play. And now let's look at the feet. Oh, baby. Had that been a white cleat, how do you overturn that call? I don't know. It was a great play by Isaiah Likely. Great job by the defenders, obviously, to close in on that, but what a throw by Lamar Jackson. This connection is going to be dangerous. We talk about who's tight end one now with Mark Andrews not getting that play. I think with both of these guys on the field, you're going to see magic. I think Mark Andrews is not going anywhere, but you got to give credit where credit is due. Isaiah Likely has arrived in the National Football League, and the Ravens are going to have some decisions to make. Let's watch it one more time from this angle because it's just beautiful to see. Look at Isaiah Likely. Just watch him. Just sit there, patient. Hands up. Lamar throwing the ball. Boom. The toe drag will live forever in infamy. What a play, though, by Isaiah Likely. Just a toe short. Them size 13 boots. You got to do something about that, Isaiah. Get them white cleats. But what a play. What a play regardless. Again, we'll talk about this later on in the show, but I wanted to give you guys a taste. What I look at when reviewing these games and deciphering what the challenges are. I think we've all know what the challenges are. There was a lot of good plays there, a lot of plays left on the field in this week 1, but if you're a Ravens fan, you got to be excited. I know there's going to be a lot of trolls out there talking about how the Ravens lost the game where I consider them the obvious winner. And I mean, you guys have fun with that, but I don't think the Chiefs want to see the Ravens in January with the offensive line that has finally gelled together and Mark Andrews and Derrick Henry that are going to get more involved in the offense. So Chiefs fans definitely enjoy this win. Ravens fans take delight in the fact that this offense is only going to get better. The passing concepts I see here have improved vastly from what I saw last year. Todd Monken's definitely leaving his print. Not a lot of read options. You got some, but not a lot. This is definitely going to be a different offense, and there's some good here. Of course, no one likes to lose, but there's some definite good in this offense. I think that we need to worry a little bit about the offensive line, but all in all, this is the team that is going to be dangerous come January.